Hi everyone, Professor Mendez-Escobar here. In this video, I will be discussing the observation assignment that you have for this course, Child Development 107, Health, Safety, and Nutrition. Let's get started. In this class, you have to complete 5 observation hours. Your observations will be of a child care and education setting. To complete your 5 hours, you can complete all of them at the same center. Each of the assignments are going to have a different focus. The first observation assignment will be an environmental rating assessment, and the second observation assignment will be a nutrition assessment. Overall, for your observation, as I mentioned, you're going to focus on a child care and education center, and you're going to want to observe the entire center, preferably the indoor and the outdoor environment as weather permits. So you want to make sure that you can, if possible, move around in rooms and observe what's going on in the center as you maintain the focus, which is the environment and nutrition assessments. Before you go on your observation, you want to make sure that you make copies of any tools or forms that you need. If you having the copies with you will help you complete the observation assignments. And if you make copies, you can write on them and make notes. I also highly recommend that you review each tool or form before you do your observation, so that once you're there, you don't have to waste time reading what you need to look for. You'll already have a general idea. And again, you don't need to memorize it because you'll have the form with you, but it's good to have a general sense of what you're going to go and do. Also, before your observation, after you schedule your observation time, you also want to make sure that you call the center and ask, or you could also do this in your first call. You want to know what's the address so that you know where to go, in terms of also when to go, what are good times. It's good to go when the children in the center are awake, just so that you can have a better sense of how things are when children are present. You also want to ask what identification you require. If you need additional forms such as a permission letter, I can provide that to you. However, some centers ask that you do a background check and fingerprinting and all of that. Unless you already have that, I do not recommend that you do that, so go ahead and look for another center. You also want to ask who to check in with. So once you're there, who do you let know, hey, I'm here for this observation? Also, you want to know who can you ask if you have any additional questions. Perhaps after you complete your observations, you might have particular questions about where things are located if you weren't able to see that, or any other questions that might come up. So it's good to have a point person. You also want to ask if you can observe several rooms. Most centers are really used to having students go in and observe. However, most other classes, the focus is on observing particular children or sometimes teachers, individual teachers or individual students. So the focus of this is a little different, so you want to ask if you can observe several rooms, hopefully the outside, again, weather permitting. You can clarify that you're there to observe the center and how things are done. Keep it pretty general. Okay, for your first observation, that's going to be an environmental rating assessment. So when you go to do this observation, you want to take your rating tool. You also want to fill out the form while you're there. Don't rely on memory. It's better to just do it as you go. Okay, you're going to be there for a while, so might as well also make sure that you take the form and fill it out as you go. You may also want to take additional notes. So in your additional notes, you can include, is there something missing? Is there something that's on the form but is missing in the center? Or the opposite, does the center have something that you find really helpful but is not on the form? and then anything else that you might want more information about. So you'll take those additional notes as well. After you complete that first focus, and again, I say observation 1, that's the assignment, not necessarily your visit. However, after your first visit, in which you go and you do your environmental rating assessment, perhaps even your second one, you want to review the form afterward. While you are at a center, if you're moving around, that you might not necessarily have time to kind of really sit down and see if you missed something. So it's a good time after you complete your observation to just check it out. Because if you miss something, then the next time you go, you can look for it. Also, so that gives you an idea of what to do the next time. The focus of this first assignment is answering the question of how well does the program ensure the environment is safe for children. That's the main idea that you're going to communicate. This first assignment is a reflection. So you're going to be writing it in essay form. And you're going to summarize the results of your completed form. And to know exactly what you need to write about, check out the reflection guide that is on Brightspace. Your next observation assignment is the nutrition assessment. So for this assignment, once you go to do these observations, you want to take a copy of the nutritional assessment. That is found on Brightspace. It is a Word document, so it's a little different from the form in that it's a Word document. And while you're there, you're going to complete the assessment. Let me see if I could pull this up for you. So this is what it's going to look like. The observation, number 2, nutritional assessment, where you're going to put the time and date of your observation, and then the ages and the number of children present. And you're going to go through all of this and answer all these sets of questions. So in this space here, that's where you're going to put your responses to this. When you are doing your observation, you want to just take a copy of that you can write on. So that then, after your observation, you're going to type up your completed assessment. So for this assignment, you're not going to be writing an essay format reflection, but rather you're completing the assessment. And the main purpose of this assignment is to identify 3 different ways in which the child care center can improve. And if you go back to the document, if you scroll all the way to the end, it's going to ask you about these 3 specific detailed ways that they can best support children's nutritional health. So you want to make sure that you are specific and that you are detailed here. And I'm really going to be looking forward to that, especially because here you're not really writing out long narratives. You're going to fill these out in several sentences or however long it takes. So it's in this area here where I'm going to see your specific thinking and how you're understanding all the course material as it relates to nutrition. Okay, and that is it for now. Bye-bye.